Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Our mission, as always, is to take that pile of research, those articles, all the complex notes you've pulled together, and really turn that raw data into knowledge you can use.
Right, to find the signal in the noise.
Exactly. But today, our mission is a little different. It's way more focused. You sent us a ton of source material, but you pointed to one single phrase.
Just one, yeah.
A conceptual cornerstone, really. And you asked us to build this entire deep dive around unpacking the power inside just that name.
Which is a fascinating way to approach this. We're zeroing in on a concept from your source material, which we know comes from a larger work called Excerpts from Bisuncho Shoko.
Oh, yeah.
And just the fact that these are excerpts tells you something, doesn't it? It suggests the original is dense, maybe philosophical, and this is the pre-digested, high-value stuff.
And the specific concept you pulled out, the one that's going to be our gravitational center for this whole discussion, is the phrase, the Logan Paul success formula. Okay, so let's unpack that. We don't have the formula itself, the bullet points. We just have the label.
We have the container.
The container, exactly. So our whole conversation is about what that label implies. Why would a source use such a clinical, high-stakes term for such a complex career? What's locked away in just calling it a success formula?
It's fascinating because that title isn't just, descriptive. It feels prescriptive.
Yes.
We have to start with the sheer weight of that word, formula. It immediately suggests that this entire, often chaotic, often controversial path of a massive internet figure has been, well, decoded.
Decoded, I like that.
Yeah, and what's so compelling is the promise of reductionism. We live in this world of information overload, unpredictable outcomes, and a formula it's a refuge.
It's a safe harbor.
It is. It tells you, the reader, that success isn't magic. It isn't just pure luck or timing you can't repeat. It's a set of defined, controllable inputs.
Got it.
It's like applying the scientific method to ambition.
I think we need to push on that, though. Beyond just replicable. Why formula and not, say, strategy or approach or method?
Okay, yeah.
Because when I hear strategy, I think of adaptation. I think of nuance.
Right. It's flexible.
But formula, you think of inevitability. A chemical formula, if you put the right inputs in, you get a guaranteed result. So calling it the Logan Paul success formula suggests a guaranteed outcome.
It elevates biography into verifiable science.
Yes, exactly.
And that language choice, that tells you everything about the kind of audience the source is trying to grab. It's speaking directly to you, the learner, who values efficiency and systems.
You're not looking for anecdotes.
No, you're not looking for historical footnotes. You're looking for an engine you can model. The source knew that by using that title, it would immediately flag itself as high-leveraged content for you.
Right.
And if we connect that to the bigger picture, modern ideas about achievement, especially in the digital world, the term success formula signifies this deep belief that complexity can be solved.
It has to be solved.
It has to be, yeah. It sort of rejects that romantic idea of the struggling artist or the accidental viral star. It asserts that there's a system, a blueprint, behind what looks like spontaneity.
Okay, but that's where I want to introduce a little tension here. Because doesn't treating a years-long, very public, often controversial career as a formula kind of sanitize it?
Sanitize it? How so?
Well, it erases the unquantifiable stuff.
Yeah.
It implies the only necessary input is effort, when often the real variables are things you can't control.
Like what?
Like, your starting platform, access to capital, or just that sheer, unrepeatable timing of catching a cultural wave. Those are the invisible variables.
That's a brilliant point. And it forces us to think about what the source author chose to include in their definition of success.
What gets left on the cutting room floor?
Exactly. To codify something as volatile as digital fame, you have to filter out the noise, the controversy, the backlash, the luck and present, only the clean, repeatable mechanism.
Okay, so let's bring in the context again. The source is excerpts from Yusei Isayoshi. It's likely trying to define a new model of success for the 21st century.
A model that has to account for things like massive pivots, right? Strategic monetization across a dozen platforms.
And maybe even deliberately courting chaos to stay relevant.
Precisely. The formula is their attempt to distill all those chaotic inputs into actionable steps.
So the source is basically saying, yes, Logan Paul is the output, but we've identified the inputs that generated that output.
And we've made them universal.
Right. It shifts the focus from the individual person to the methodology.
And this is where the format you shared with us is so critical. This phrase comes from excerpts, not the whole book, just a selection.
So it's already been curated.
Heavily curated. The word excerpts tells us this concept has passed through a really vigorous editorial filter. Someone decided that out of, the entire original work, this Logan Paul success formula was one of the most vital, punchiest takeaways.
The highlight reel.
It's the highlight reel of the theory, yeah. Excerpts are designed for rapid education. They're the Cliff's Notes. They prioritize clarity and being memorable over, comprehensive nuance.
So if the author put this formula in the excerpts,
it means it's a fundamental pillar of their whole argument about achievement today. It's designed to be the anchor point for the reader.
and this is where it gets really interesting, because you, the learner, you chose to prioritize one distilled concept, the formula.
And the source material itself prioritized distilled concepts through the excerpts.
You're both after the same thing.
The shortest, most efficient path to understanding. It's a perfect alignment.
So let's speculate a bit. If we were to imagine what's in this formula, what components would it have to include to be relevant today?
Okay, good question. It's not just about talent or reach anymore.
Not at all.
Right. So a modern formula has to account for continuous disruption. It can't be static. So it must have variables for what you might call strategic pivot points.
The ability to jump from YouTube to boxing, for instance.
Exactly. And to do it without losing your core audience, that adaptability presented as a repeatable step would be an incredibly high-value insight.
What else?
It would absolutely have to include monetization stack diversification. Success now isn't one revenue stream.
No, it's a portfolio.
It's a portfolio. The formula would have to define the inputs for generating income from content, merch, IP licensing, business ventures, all at the same time. It's the math of maximizing your surface area for revenue.
And we can't ignore the controversial side. I'd call it the controlled chaos coefficient.
Ooh, I like that.
For a figure who thrives on controversy and risk, the formula has to explain how you use negative attention as fuel.
The conversion rate of shock value into engagement.
Yes, if a formula exists, it implies this high-risk behavior isn't just spontaneous self-destruction. It's a calculated, repeatable part of the strategy.
And that distinction between just chaos and controlled chaos, that's probably where the real secret sauce of the formula is.
It's not just surviving unpredictability.
No, it's manufacturing it. Manufacturing the unpredictability and then capitalizing on the fallout. It's a deeply cynical but probably very effective approach to media.
And it's a huge philosophical shift. For generations, business advice was about consistency, stability.
Build a reputation. Be dependable.
Right. This new formula suggests that stability actually leads to obscurity. The essential input is calculated disruption.
And the fact that this is in the excerpt tells you the whole original text, that Ish Koi Pohur believes that this strategic instability is the key ingredient for modern fame.
So let's talk about the psychological impact of calling it a formula.
It takes this intimidating, huge scale of achievement and it makes it solvable. It's a roadmap. It promises a way to bypass all the uncertainty that comes with being creative or an entrepreneur.
It's the ultimate shortcut promise.
It really is. And the power in that is immense. We're moving from a world where we studied biographies for wisdom to a world where we study systems for results.
And the Logan Paul success formula is just the perfect label for this new results-first, hyper-systematized approach to a public life.
We also have to talk about infrastructure, though. Because no success like this, no matter how charismatic the person is, happens in a vacuum.
Oh, absolutely not. There's a team.
A huge team. If this formula is actually replicable, it must include the need for a massive support structure: editors, managers, lawyers.
Whole apparatus.
The whole apparatus.
Yeah.
So the formula, if it's any good, has to account for what the individual must delegate. The successful scaling of a personal brand is an institutional problem now.
So the formula isn't just a to-do list for one person.
No, it's a structural diagram for the entire machine needed to sustain that level of output and public engagement.
We're basically dissecting the implied architecture of this formula.
We are. And that's the difference between saying be charismatic and defining the daily content pipeline, legal risk assessment matrix, and strategic merchandising cadence required to monetize charisma at scale.
And the second one is what a formula delivers.
That's what a formula is designed to deliver.
You know, the genius of the source author in naming it this is that they packaged all that complexity into a super digestible, highly shareable container.
They labeled a phenomenon.
And that label is what caught your eye in your notes. That's why we're here.
Let's circle back for a second to the source itself. The fact that the original text is referred to by its non-English title, E Ero Ajo. What does that suggest?
To me, it suggests the work has, I don't know, a significant international or academic reach.
Or that it's very theory-driven.
Right. It reinforces that the formula is being presented as a high-level academic model, not just some journalistic observation.
It's a crucial detail. The formal, conceptual nature of the source implies this formula is a robust sociological or business theory.
A mechanism for dissecting power and influence in the digital age.
Exactly. It treats the figure, Logan Paul, as a living data set that confirms the theory of the source material.
So the phrase itself is basically a thesis statement for the whole book.
It is. It's an argument that success, even disruptive success, is fundamentally predictable and trainable. It's a direct challenge to conventional wisdom, just packaged up neatly as a set of instructions.
And for you, the person listening, the power is in the extraction. You don't have to read the 100,000 words of theory. You just saw the title of the formula, and you immediately got the author's core argument.
That achievement in this space is engineering.
It's engineering. We've spent this entire deep dive just pulling apart the title of a concept.
And in doing that, we've uncovered layers about the philosophy of achievement, the structure of modern advice, editorial choices, all of it.
So what does this all mean? We focused entirely on that conceptual cornerstone you gave us, the Logan Paul Success Formula, and we put it in context with its source, the excerpts from Ateis Santiago.
And the central takeaway is the profound statement that phrase makes all on its own. It's a distillation point. It argues that high-level achievement today is systematized and predictable, even when it looks totally chaotic.
The formula is the source's attempt to isolate the repeatable variables.
The inputs necessary for modern scale and influence. It takes the whole mess of public life and hands the reader a clean equation.
It promises control. It challenges that assumption that you just have to wait for luck to strike.
It suggests success is a structure you can build.
As long as you have the right theoretical blueprint. And that blueprint the author is asserting is the Logan Paul Success Formula. So we'll leave you with this final thought to carry forward with you. If a figure's entire, years-long, highly complex and dynamic career can be reduced and packaged into a simple, replicable formula, what unrepeatable element, be it the cultural zeitgeist, unique starting capital, or just sheer unadulterated luck, does that abstraction have to erase to maintain its promise of mastery?
What's the cost of the clean equation?
Chew on that as you continue your work. See you next time for the next deep dive.